We talked about Oklo, and I think Oklo is still on a climb. Nvidia is just, I was looking through my, um, well, let me show you. Let me see if I can pull up. Uh, I was looking through my portfolio and I didn't realize I had bought Nvidia when it was $8 a share, and now it's 130 bucks. And I wanted to inform you that the reason that I'm hoping that you'll consider digging deeper into the stock market is because right now the Federal Reserve is expected to cut interest rates. And what's historically true is that whenever the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates and there's not a recession, the stock market 100% of the time in history has always like shot up like a rocket. Um, this is where the fix is in, and I want the fix to be in your favor. We're gonna create some black privilege up in here, and and let me just tell you, it's pretty interesting. So this is what I was thinking about as I was on my run, and I was sort of running through it. It was really interesting too because I was thinking about just wealth and reparations and things like that because I was looking into a lot of you may or may not know about Seneca Village, which is the place that it was a black community that was in the place where Central Park is located right now. Anybody heard of Seneca Village? Seneca Village was a black community, black and Irish, and they owned a lot of land. They had churches, grocery stores, stuff like that, and they just used eminent domain to come in and take their land, right? And so as I'm going through, running up and down these avenues in New York, and I'm seeing just these multi-billion-dollar buildings. I'm looking at the hotel that I'm staying in. I can't mention my hotels until after I leave because you know, after Charlie Kirk got popped, we all got to be careful because you never know who your enemies are. But this hotel, it's this multi-billion-dollar monstrosity, and I'm just sitting here thinking about all of the wealth that was taken from our people. All the stuff that's owed to us. And I heard there was a beautiful young lady online who sings a song about reparations. And if you know her name or you happen to know her, I don't have her name in front of me, but I'd like to invite her to come to the convention to sing that song because, it's like, she's right. We need that anthem. We need to make that a rallying cry for our community. They owe us stuff, and I don't enjoy walking through, you know, um, going up and down the streets of Manhattan, and then just seeing all this property that is owned by white people when we know what black people contributed to the process. We know that y'all stole our stuff. And that's where I just get really belligerent. I guess I'm radical to some people because I just pretty much said, if you're a politician and you ain't supporting me getting what my people are owed, then why do I owe you my vote? Why do I owe you anything? I don't owe you nothing. You done took enough from me. You took everything from us. And now you asking for more. You got the nerve to show up and ask for my money. The little bit we got, you got the nerve to show up and ask for my vote. You got the nerve to show up and ask me for favors, and you ain't willing to do no favors for me. I think I really see that as a type of white supremacy that we think we owe anybody anything. You don't owe nobody nothing. You owe your kids, you owe yourself, you owe your community. That's who you owe. And that's just my opinion. Again, but that's bias. I'm being very biased right now. Forgive me if I offended anybody, but that's how I feel. I don't owe nobody nothing. I got to play catch up because you don't want to be accountable for what you took from us, and you don't want to acknowledge what is owed. And so every time you go through a big city like New York or any other city, I want you to look up in the sky and I want you to look and see how many $100 million, $1 billion buildings there are in this city. Like you walk down any street in Manhattan right now, you're going to see several buildings worth several hundred millions of dollars, many of them worth billions. And like the JP Morgan, not too far from here, built a brand new building that's like, I think, $3 billion. How many of those buildings are owned by black people? How many of those buildings are owned by black investor groups? Right? Literally, I mean, how many like 1%? Can we at least get 1%, 2%? I mean, with 13% of the population, we should own at least 2% of those buildings, 3%. We probably the number is close to zero, 0%. That's crazy. That's insanity. It's insanity. So you call me crazy because I call it out. I call you crazy because you ain't noticed it. Like that you think it's that you accept it. That's the part that I don't understand. So So I don't get it. I don't get it. Um, I don't know. Give me one second here. So let me get in. Let me jump in. Let me chill out. And somebody said the singer's name is Kirby. Is it Kirby? I don't remember her name being Kirby. But shout out to Kirby. That reparation song is really good, and she's really talented. She gives me Macy Gray. She's got that Macy Grayish voice. She's right up there with Karma J. You know, Karma J is I know Karma J, and she just recently released what I think is the best album in the country. It's called Love something, Love Hangover, and it's on Spotify. So look up Karma J. Shout out to her, KHARMAJAI. So shout out to all the talented Black people in our community. All right, so let's jump into this stock. All right, so I want to talk about a company called Eightco Holdings, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to be quite transparent with you right now. I don't even know if I want to buy this stock or not. I just decided today, since we talk about finances every morning, I said, why don't I analyze it and think it through while I got you right here watching? And then, you can take that information, do what you want with it. Just give me a yes in the chat so we can just fully acknowledge this is not investing advice. I don't want nobody out here saying Dr. Boyce told me. Dr. Boyce didn't tell you do nothing except wash your ass and take care of your kids. That's all I told you to do. I told you like go to the gym. That's my advice. Like, go to the gym, kiss your mama, like be nice to your puppy. Like that's my advice is not financial advice. Okay. All right. So I want to make sure we're clear about that. All right. So here, but I do acknowledge the fact that what I say does matter to a lot of you, and I appreciate that, and I do not take that for granted. All right. So here, Eightco Holdings, EIGHT, Eightco Holdings is a company where there's an analyst named Dan Ives. He's the chairman of this company. And this company is really interesting to me because what they did was they raised $250 million through private placement to buy WorldCoin tokens. Now, WorldCoin tokens are really interesting. WorldCoin tokens are basically like this coin that sort of tracks like the ability of to know the difference between AI and humans. And so it was created by Sam Altman. I pay attention to Sam Altman. Sam Altman isn't just in the epicenter of the greatest economic and cultural revolution in history, one of the greatest with AI. I think he's connected to the government on a deep, deep level. I don't think it's a coincidence that you have like I think the head of the NSA is on his board of directors. He kicks it with Donald Trump and his oligarch buddies. When you saw recently that Oracle, the founder of Oracle, Larry Ellison, made $100 billion in one day. I mean, the fix is really in 100%. And again, I told you I can't fix the fix. I can only tell you what I see with the fix. And so, like investing in companies like Oklo, I invested in Oklo, which has gone up 300 or 400% in the last year or so. I invested in Oklo because I said, okay, well, Sam Altman's over there. Let me just see what he's doing, and if he's a part of it, I want to see if the narrative makes sense, right? And that's what happens when you pick a stock. You look at the story, like, okay, why should this industry grow? You're always looking for growth. And I said, okay, I think this is going to grow. I think Sam Altman has a point. There's going to be a shortage of energy. These small nuclear reactors can be a part of solving that problem. So Oklo, OKLO, is a stock that I bought, and it turned out that it was right. Sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes you're wrong. So don't ever think that I always get it right. So WorldCoin tokens are a native currency of the WorldCoin ecosystem. It's designed to be both a medium of exchange and a governance token, meaning holders of WorldCoin can vote on protocol upgrades and decisions about the network. The tokens are distributed to individuals who verify their identity through WorldCoin's World ID system. So apparently they have this World ID system, and if you get verified through their system, you can get a token. This whole idea of like them scanning everybody's irises and getting us all in this like global database. Did anybody go to like Sunday school when you were little and they told you about the day where everybody would be asked to get the mark of the beast? Anybody remember that? Did anybody else go to the same Sunday school I went to? Like that's, I was scared to death. They had me like, I thought it was going to happen in like 1982 or something. But I don't know. I'm looking at this like, oh Lord, okay. All right, so let's keep reading here. So how people get them. The claim that WLD tokens, let's see, to claim these tokens, people must scan their iris using a device called the orb. That sounds spooky. The scan proves they are a unique human and not a bot without storing personal biometric data. Once verified, they receive the tokens as a reward. The idea is to rapidly bootstrap global adoption by distributing tokens directly to individuals. The purpose of the token is identity verification. WLD is tied to the World ID system, a proof of personhood credential that's meant to solve problems like bots, fake accounts, and fraud. That's a big problem. That's a big problem. I got so many bots that follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's crazy. I didn't ask for it, but I'm willing to bet that out of the 211,000 people that follow me on Twitter, I bet 80,000 of them are bots, and it's very frustrating. I wish they would get rid of that. Um, WLD can be used as a payment system, a digital payment method within the WorldCoin ecosystem and beyond. Universal basic income, which is a long-term vision that WorldCoin tokens could support. Huh. UBI style distributions worldwide. Okay, so basically they might use this coin to distribute everyone's universal basic income. If you haven't seen the conversations about that, the argument is that because AI is just going to dominate everything, we're going to we're just gonna not gonna need workers as much anymore. The bots will take all the jobs, and I guess they're like these immigrants from outer space or something. I guess, and they're going to not need people coming to work every day. And when that happens, you're gonna have a real interesting society where people are just sitting at home doing nothing, and so they just send them a check, which that's kind of scary that all of us would be turned into welfare queens and welfare kings. Token holders help steer the project by voting on proposals. The controversy behind it is around privacy concerns, which is a legitimate issue. Scanning people's irises and centralizing biometric data is, we know the government's going to be in on that big time. Yeah. When Ice Cube made that movie that got the really low ratings, and he's kind of like my friend, but not really. But we're cool. I like him. I like the guy a lot, and he likes me, and we don't talk that much. But anyway, I sent him a little note because I feel bad for him because the ratings were so bad. The movie's called War of the Worlds. I thought it was actually interesting. I liked it, but a lot of people didn't. I guess I don't know. And I remember I texted him how I said, "Hey, actually, that was a good movie. I hope the reviews don't bother you." And he said basically, I think he did his research. He didn't say it like this, but this is me filling in the blanks. But basically, he said it's deeper than you think. That Uncle Sam really is able to track things that you don't know that they can track. They get data that you don't actually think that they have. So I think if you watch War of the Worlds, you might get a sense of just sort of an inkling of how deep the NSA is going in terms of this whole data thing. Data is a big part of the economy. It's a big part of the future. So anyway, with this company, Eightco, what they did, and the reason I'm considering investing in Eightco, is that they announced a big investment in these WorldCoin tokens. So they're going to build a treasury of these tokens. MicroStrategy did that with Bitcoin. It worked out quite well. Bitmine, BIBMNR, has done the same thing. So far, so good. My investment in Bitmine has probably gone up about 20, 30%, something like that. So this company, Eightco, is doing the same thing. So here's a bit on the bull and bear case of Eightco. Dan Ives, here's the thing about Dan Ives. Dan Ives he's a Webbush analyst, and I like Dan Ives. Um, he knows what he's talking about. He's heavy on Tesla. He's a big Tesla bull. I know that Tesla is political, but there are a lot of people. He and Kathy Hughes, Kathy, not Kathy Hughes, Kathy. I can't remember it's another Kathy. It's not Kathy Hughes is black. This other Kathy, put her name in the chat. I can't remember her name. But anyway, she's Kathy Wood. Thank you, Kathy Wood from Ark Investing. They're big believers in Tesla, just big believers. And right now Tesla stock is just on an absolute tear. And if a couple of things go right for that company, it's going to just explode. So I do own Tesla. Because I bought it, I'm not selling it, and that's what it is. Now, in terms of this company, Eightco, which has the ticker symbol, I think it's Orbs, ORBS, like those little orbs. that they want to use to scan your face. It's not on Robinhood though. That's the problem. It's actually I'm willing to bet it's on E-Trade or Schwab. So E-Trade and Schwab sometimes list stocks that you can't easily get on Robinhood. I went to Robinhood, looked up Eightco. I saw a company called Eightco, but I don't think it's the same one. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is. When I read the description didn't match what I knew about this company. So let me look it up. Yeah, so the ticker symbol is ORBS, ORBS, and right now the stock is trading at $11 a share. But $11 a share may sound cheap, but that's a really high price compared to where it was. Let me show you where it was. This stock has just been on fire, and that's a red flag for me. Karma J has a song called Red Flags, and it makes me think about red flags. All right, I got red flags all day. All right, so here is Orbs. All right, so here is the stock. This is the last month. Look at this. It hasn't been around that long, right? And this freaking thing went to $45 from a dollar. Then look at it afterward though. Look at this. Look at how much it sank. So if you bought this thing, and this is the thing I always warn you about, when you buy a stock when it's on fire, then that means your dollar bills in your pocket are going to be on fire. You might as well burn them and throw them in the toilet because a lot of people that bought up here, they bought the hype and the speculation. These are what you call momentum investors. And I don't know. Sometimes momentum works. I studied it in my dissertation, but sometimes it doesn't. And so here you see a lot of people bought when the stock spiked up to 45, and at the same time people were selling. So now this is a $11 stock. So the dilemma that you have is, okay, I see this thing that's gone down 43% in the last week. Is that a cheap stock? Like, is that a $45 stock that's on sale? Or is that a $1.46 stock that is too big for its britches? Because remember, for a long time, this thing was $1.46. And this is where the insiders make money. This is where the fix is in. They make a bunch of their money because they get access to buying the shares before they go public. So they're buying at $1.40, $1.50, and then it goes public and it hits 45. You can't tell me they weren't looking to find some way to protect that wealth, that massive jump in wealth. I'm not saying they all sold. I don't know what the requirements are. Sometimes they require you to hold your stock for a while, but I don't know. I'm guessing somebody was selling something because look at this drop, 43%. So this thing is massively volatile. Volatility is risk. Risk is just the chance that something's going to happen. So risk is not bad. Risk is not good. Risk is just powerful. So just remember that. All right. Is it on Robinhood? Okay. Aubrey says it's on Robinhood. So maybe I missed it. Let me check again. I'm gonna check my Robinhood. Sometimes I'm wrong, Aubrey. I'm wrong all the time. Just ask my wife. She'll tell you. All right. So, but she's never wrong. So if she's watching, hey, babe, I told him you're never wrong. You're never wrong. All right. So let me see here. All right. So here, let me ORBS. Let me look it up. There it is. It's right there. Why did I miss it? I'm oh, must have been smoking this morning. But anyway, all right. So here, yeah, so it is on Robinhood. So thank you, Aubrey, for correcting me. I did not know. I thought it wasn't on there. So yeah, so so okay, so let's go through the bull and the bear case. Um, all right, so as I read this, I want to kind of summarize it by basically saying, to me, it kind of comes down, it could come down to something basic like this, where you don't overthink it. You just say, you know, it's $11 a share. What else would I be doing with my $11 if I don't buy stock in this company? Because the risk and the volatility means, yeah, it might go down, but the risk also means that it might go up, right? Something bad could happen, but also something good could happen, right? Because sometimes that happens too with risk. And so I think if you could YOLO your way into the investment and just because if you process it like this, this is what I do. Sometimes if I get to the point where I've been overthinking on something and it's causing paralysis of analysis, I'll just take a complex decision and make it simple. Like if you watch was it America's Team, a gambler and his Cowboys. Jerry Jones was talking about when he bought the Cowboys, and they were negotiating, and they had a gap of $300,000. And the other guy said, "Okay, I'll tell you what. How about we just flip a coin? I'll flip you for it." And they said, okay. So they flipped a coin, and Jerry Jones lost, and he lost $300,000. He goes, I lost the bet, but then I took ownership of the Dallas Cowboys, right, which is now a $13 billion company. So, so sometimes you could make it simple and just say, hey, you know what? I got an extra $300. Why not? Right? Because there is a possibility this thing could do well. Dan Ives has a pretty good track record. He's the chairman of the board of this company right now. Let me see. Let's see. The stock exploded from $1.45 to $45. We talked about that. Let's see here. Ives, his credibility is big. That's probably what drove the original stock increase. Let's see here. They have a lot of crypto tailwinds right now. WorldCoin and the World ID are really positioned to take advantage of these AI trends. The next step, identity verification, right? So these AI guys, in my opinion, are sharp and advantaged in the sense that they don't just see what's happening, they see what's down the pike, right? They see what needs are going to happen, and that paid off when it came to Oklo. You guys have seen a lot of you I know own Oklo, and nothing pleases me more than to know that you now have more money for your families and stuff like that because of a move that we all made together. Like this is investing together, and I love it. So maybe this is another case where we can all celebrate together if this stock does do well. Let's see here. Proof of human, anti-bot verification, data privacy concerns, AI crypto convergence. Yeah, that's a big one too. Like where are the spaces where AI and crypto are gonna do this? That's going to be big. AI is going to just permeate everything. And so AI is, you're going to have AI in biotech, AI in finance, AI in crypto for sure. So Robinhood, the reason I own shares in Robinhood is because I like the CEO's thinking. I think his name's Vlad Tenev. I'm bad with names. But he seems to be working extremely hard to find those places where AI and crypto can kind of connect and just do these really innovative things in the fintech space. So I just wanted to be a part of that. I like the narrative. I think the CEO is smart, and I like the idea of a bunch of smart white people sitting around a table working for me and making money for me and my family. I think that's kind of cool. Like white people should be the slaves now, not us. I'm kidding. I'm being stupid. But anyway, they probably have black people that work there too. So that's just I'm just being a racist right now. All right. So anyway. What else? What are some other advantages? You have this first mover advantage. I mean, you might be getting in early on something that could become big later on. And they're taking a strategic position by building this reserve of these world coins. And if the world coins go up in value, then the stock will go up in value with it. Let's see here. They do have a strong capital and funding base, so that's a good thing. Now, the bear case is that the stock's valuation has already gone up quite a lot. That's always a red flag when a stock takes off like that. The market cap right now pretty much exceeds by a long shot the fundamental value of the company. That's why you got to be really careful with a stock when the price is away from the fundamentals. That's when that stock becomes a very risky stock because it's built on expectations and speculation, sometimes just raw hype. The world just thinks this is a great company because LeBron bought some shares in it, and it may be a crappy company. And I think that's something that you got to watch out for, especially right now in this environment. One thing that I mentioned before, I'll mention it again in detail because I think you should know this, is the Federal Reserve is expected to reduce interest rates today, actually. And every time they reduce interest rates where there's not a recession, the stock market goes kaboom. It just takes off every time, right? Now, the question at this point is, are we in a recession though? Because if we're in a recession, then that's a different outcome, right? But if we're not in a recession, then you can expect the stock market will keep on going up. It's going to keep going up. And the reason I think is important for those of you that haven't been participating, I just want to kind of let you know you're missing a lot of money. I mean, in fact, everybody in the community who is investing and making money, put a yes in the chat right now, or and talk about the money you're making. Say something in the chat right now because I need all the people that are sitting on the sidelines to really watch how many people are responding to this question. This is just we're gonna do a financial flex right now. I want everybody who's making money to put a look at all these yeses. Look at this. Look at Do y'all see the yeses that are in here? So anybody who's not moving yet, I just want to tell you that the money, this is real. This is not hype. This is not a motivational speech. This is me telling you what's happening outside. And so you gotta get over the trauma that's blocking you from making that move. That's why my wife will be in our stock market class next week, and she's gonna do a whole training on overcoming, like diagnosing your trauma, overcoming it, and not letting it stop you. So a lot of us get frozen. We get this paralysis of analysis because we're scared to do things wrong. And so at that point, you're not just wasting money in terms of opportunity cost, you're wasting time. Time is more valuable than money. So don't do that. The stock market is the greatest wealth driver on the planet. Um, why would you not put energy into understanding it? You put a lot of energy into understanding how to get that job you got and how to get that college degree. And for some of us, the college degree just got you a whole bunch of debt, and that job got you a whole bunch of stress and just enough money to live on. So if you're going to spend all that time and energy learning how to get through school, all that time and energy spending you spent learning how to do that job and get those certifications, why not spend that same time and energy learning how to put yourself firmly in the greatest wealth driver in the entire planet? The stock market is the greatest wealth driver in America, period. That's where the money's at. So please do something. Make a move. Make a move. And you guys know about the 5-year pledge. We're asking everybody to pledge 5 years of investing for their families on a consistent basis. Treat it like it's a bill. If you text the word pledge to the number 87948, you could join the 5-year pledge. And I'll send you a free copy of my training on exchange traded funds. You'll get that via text right as soon as you text the word pledge to the phone number 87948. All right, so here are a couple of things to worry about as well. Crypto has a lot of volatility attached as well, especially new coins. This WorldCoin, okay, one risk that's mentioned here is regulatory scrutiny. They ain't gonna get no regulatory scrutiny from the Trump administration. That's just, I mean, no. Like, there was a time that Al Capone owned the police station. Like, ain't no cop gonna pull over Al Capone and give him a ticket. So right now, the drug dealers are running the police station. So Sam Altman is right there in the middle. This is a new robber baron era, and it's happening, right? So I don't think there's going to be any regulatory scrutiny under the Trump administration or any, and if they're able to get a successor, because I guess I'm assuming they're doing what every party does, they're trying to protect their power. So if JD Vance is the next president or something, it could be a long time before there's regulatory scrutiny. And the truth of the matter is that I never understood why there wasn't more support for crypto from the beginning. I didn't understand the resistance, and also they just made it worse. I think that they got the crypto community so frustrated that they literally all raised. They said we're going to raise hundreds of millions of dollars to elect whoever will support their interest, right? And so what Trump did, because he makes deals, is he went to the crypto people. He said, "Yeah, I know I told you that I hate crypto and I think it's stupid. But if you get me elected, then I'll change all the regulations in your favor." That's the deal that was made. And that's why any of you who owned crypto were able to make a lot of money right after the election. And there are people actually speculating that they're actually, honestly, smart people are having legitimate debates about whether or not Bitcoin's going to reach 200,000 by the end of the year. I think that's a stretch. I don't think it's going to do that. I think Bitcoin, it might hit 150 or something. If it hits 200, I'd be just stunned. I'd be as shocked as I would to find out that Dame Dash was the chairman of Revolt. I don't believe that either. I like Dame, but I don't think that's going on. But still, long term, Bitcoin, it looks really good. All right, so let's keep going. Yeah, now one risk that's mentioned here as well is adoption risk. That's a legitimate risk that people just may not want to do it. They see they may, like that mark of the beast stuff. Like there's nothing that makes me just want to rush and get my iris scanned. I'm not feeling that, honestly. Um, and so the trust, they'd have to really overcome the trust issue, or maybe they end up doing it similar to what they did with the vaccine, where they told everybody, if you don't do this, you're going to lose your job, which I thought was just terrible for them to do that. But that's what they did. What else? So, yeah, there's obviously the privacy concerns, execution risk. So when you raise a lot of capital, there is some dilution that occurs the pre-existing shareholders can be diluted by the new shareholders, and so they also have a pre-existing business line that they have to integrate this with, and also there may be other companies that may create crypto treasury sorts of frameworks, and so really, I would say if you bought this stock, which the ticker symbol's ORBS, Orbs, you're definitely taking a risk. Um, I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna take that risk with you. I'm gonna get in here. The share price, I guess, is $10 and what is it? $10.89 a share. So I'm gonna buy me some shares right now. This is how quickly you can buy stock. It doesn't take a long time, and I just want to go along for the ride. I want, and what's driving me to go along for the ride is when I make investments, I like to believe in people. I'd like to know who's running the company. Do they have a track record of being successful? That tells me that they're going to be a decent steward of my money. At least I believe that. I also might look at what's happening in the world. What narratives do I want to be a part of? And I this is one I'd like to be a part of. And the fact that this stock has dropped from 45 to 10 says, well, at the very least, you're not buying at 45. But here's the other thing too. Let's say you had started buying at 45, but you believe the narrative. Like you have a thesis on your stock and you just think, okay, this industry is gonna, do well. All this other stuff. I think I bought about 120 shares, by the way, which was about $1,300 worth of something. So not a massive investment, but when you buy what you can afford. So, work where you are, work from where you are. It may be for me that's a reasonable number, but for some of us it may not be yet. But it's okay. You work your way up. If you're broke, don't feel bad. I was broke too. We all, a lot of us are broke, and that's the thing about being black that's going to change in the next generation. We have to change that. This whole idea that somehow we're supposed to start with nothing and then be proud of the fact that we climbed out of the mud. I don't want that anymore. I don't want us to have to get muddy in order to be successful. I'd rather have us start at a higher plane so that so the kids and grandkids can have bigger dreams. So they can say, okay, I don't have to start with garbage and turn garbage into a digestible meal. I'm going to start with healthy food and then grow that into something gourmet. I'm going to grow that into something powerful. So really, I would encourage you to just really understand the importance of not just building the wealth, but protecting the wealth. And this is that legacy planning, things like that. Last night, my wife and I were on with Dr. George Fraser for a while. He had a power networking challenge, and that's one thing that was brought up quite often was, this idea that so many people don't protect their wealth. They're not they don't they you work your butt off and then you throw it all away right before you die. So your kids are sitting there and they're waiting to receive the result of all your hard work, and you take it and you just throw it off a bridge. You say, "Ha, suckers, you're gonna have to start over with nothing." And that's not appropriate, right? We don't do that here, okay? So I would encourage you to look into things like legacy planning, estate planning. A trust sounds like a fancy thing. It's not as fancy as you think. It's really not as fancy as you think. And the other thing too, I was thinking about in terms of having hard conversations with loved ones about transition planning. If you talk about transition planning, I would encourage you to not make it such a heavy conversation. Maybe that's it. Maybe, because people have a fear of growing old or a fear of death sometimes, or they think that talking about death is going to manifest it. You're not going to manifest death. Death is going to manifest itself because every one of us in here is going to be gone at some point. The two men behind me, Marcus Garvey and W.E.B. Du Bois, are both gone, right? So it's going to happen. So you're not manifesting it. But I think maybe instead of starting off with a 3-hour family conversation, start with like 30 minutes. Just, a quick little legacy huddle or something. Just get together and just say, let's just get together and talk. Hop on a Zoom once a week, once a month, and just talk. And then just see where it goes, and just say, hey, I'd like to, what do y'all think about, just making a transition plan, getting something on paper, just getting something started. And even then, I think maybe even documenting a few things, just something that's not even official yet, but just something so that you can have something internally to know what the wishes are. That's what I did. When I years ago, before I had my estate plan in place, I just sent an email to the people I work with and people I'm close to, and I said, here's what I'd like to have happen if something happens to me tomorrow. And that was even before I did my official trust. I don't know if it would have stood up in court, but it was the first step toward getting to the point where everything was formalized and legalized. And so, if you're into legacy planning, things like that, we do actually offer that in the Black Business School. Just go to drboycelift.com, Lift, Lift. It stands for Legacy Investors for Tomorrow. And so, drboycelift.com, we meet once a month and we go through legacy planning. There's an entire curriculum broken down on everything you need to do step by step. So, feel free to go to drboycelift.com. And like everything else that we do, if you sign up one person, your family, everybody can participate with your membership. So you don't have to sign up multiple people, just one membership gets it done. All right. So yeah, so I'm gonna buy orbs, and I hope that my breakdown was helpful to you. Let me think here. Let me see if there's anything else that stood out to me today in the market. Everybody's waiting on this Fed announcement. That's going to be big. That's going to really be a big mover. Oh, and also next week when Dr. Alicia comes into the Stock Market Investors Club, I'll send you all an email inviting you and a text message as well. So if you're not on the text list for this class, pull out your phone, text the word morning to the number 87948, text morning to 87948, or if you live overseas, you can just go to drboyceelevate.com, drboyceelevate.com. There is another stock I just bought called Open Door Technologies. And I liked Open Door Technologies because it's like this AI driven real estate company. And Let me see if I can find information on the company. I was really impressed with it, and it was open. It started by a guy who was the COO of Shopify, and basically, his let's see the company's what's wait give me a second. Let me see. I'm looking for a breakdown of what the company does so I can read it because I'm going to mess it up if I try to describe it. They engage in the operation of buying, selling, and trading residential properties online. The company was founded by Eric Wu on December 30th, 2013. And basically, what this company does, from what I understand, is they pretty much buy people's houses with cash. And I bought it and it's done today. It's up 14% today. So far so good. And I the ticker symbol is just open, OPEN. And what I think that they're doing is they're taking advantage of what I call the liquidity problem. Liquidity is the ease with which things can be converted into cash. So if you're trying to sell your house and you have to go find the realtor and all that that's going to help you sell it. And because you have a liquidity problem, they're going to help you solve. They're going to go find a buyer for your property. So what they're doing is for a transactions cost, they're just giving you that liquidity. They're saying, look, just get on the app and we'll buy your house for cash or something. And that's risky though, because you're gonna, if your house is worth 500,000, I imagine they probably offer you like 450 or something, and see what you'll take. And some people will do that because they're so eager to sell the asset. That's why liquidity is a really important part of investing that gets often overlooked. You really want to pay attention to your ability to not just acquire the asset, but the ability to maintain the asset. Can you keep the freaking thing? A lot of people lose control of assets because they don't have the cash flow to maintain that asset. And so in fact, what was it, William Randolph Hearst, I believe, the newspaper guy, it was really interesting. He used liquidity twice, and at least twice in a couple of pretty big ways. So William Randolph Hearst he was the man. He was a big boss back in the day. The newspaper business. He ran it all and everything. And so William Randolph Hearst, what he did was that was smart was when I think it was after World War II or maybe it was World War One. A lot of European royalty and leadership, they had a liquidity problem. They didn't have any money, and but they had all this expensive stuff. So he goes and he buys all this expensive stuff from Europe because he could buy it cheap because everybody needed cash that bad. It was almost like going to the pawn shop. And so he buys all this stuff and he puts it all in this big house. He builds this big mansion. I think he built it for his girlfriend. And then she dumped him or something. And I think he didn't use the mansion or something. It was something like that. Anyway, but here's the thing. Later on, William Randolph Hearst had a liquidity problem where he didn't have the cash to maintain his business and everything. A lot of the stuff that he bought that was so expensive, other people bought it from him. So liquidity is important because that's necessary for you to maintain control of what you have. So if I go out and I buy, and I remember Dame Dash and I talked about this a lot when he started that clothing line, Rockaware. It did not sound like it was a good experience because he said the problem with the fashion industry is that you need so much cash to make everything go. And it's funny. While I'm in New York, I think Fashion Week is happening now, and I met a brother who came up and talked to me, who's doing something with Fashion Week and runs a clothing company. And the hard part about that industry is you have to have, like, let's say you get a big order and somebody buys a whole bunch of your stuff. Well, a lot of times they're not going to pay you right off the bat. They're going to wait, right? Time and money are like this. Time and money are like peanut butter and jelly, brother and sister. So getting the money isn't just the issue. It's when do you get the money? So I took a whole class in college, all on cash flow timing, like literally where you have measures to determine, okay, my goal when I run my business is to pay people as slowly as possible and receive my money as fast as possible. Right. So you have these measures that will tell you if your cash flow timing's right. Time is important in finance. That I hope you get that. Time is everything. Right. Like we talk about options, time. You have a baby that, and you don't start investing for them till they're 25 years old. You spend 25 years not using that time. That kid could have been a millionaire by now. Like, still invest for the freaking baby. So anyway, with this, I hope I don't sound elevated. So with timing, gosh, where was my point? I lost my freaking point. I hate when I do this. I went on a tangent. Usually I'll circle back and get back to where I was, but now I'm lost. I went out into space and I'm just floating. So here's the point. Liquidity. Let's circle back on that. Oh, that's what it was. So Dame would talk about Rockaware and they would get these big orders because Rockaway became very popular, and that was a big curse from what I gathered because you're shipping out $10 million worth of clothes, which means you got to go get that stuff and send it to people. They're getting the clothes before you get the money, so you got to go get the money to go get the clothes until they pay you, right? So you might have a massive profit margin, but it don't matter if either they don't pay you or they take too long to pay you. Time. So he said it was a nightmare because you had to get millions in financing just to keep the doors open while you hold on for dear life, waiting for somebody to pay you. So when you go start a business or you make an investment, look at liquidity, look at timing of the cash flow. That's really, really important. There's a guy that wants to talk to me today about a pitch, and my first question is going to be like, okay, how do I get my money out if I need it? Do I have full transparency? Am I going to be able to see how much money's coming in and out? I don't want you just reporting things to me. I need to be able to check it myself. And also, how long is it going to take for the investment to start kicking in? I don't want to wait 8 years and have you hold my money. I'm 54. I'll be 62 by the time I make a nickel. I don't want to wait till I'm 62. I got other investments that can pay me tomorrow. I can sell stock options and go make 10, 20, $30,000 tomorrow. So you got to compete with that. So ultimately, just keep that in mind when you talk about investing. Liquidity is everything. Time matters. Time is more valuable than money. Do not waste time, right? So you got that baby, invest in that baby now. Start Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, and don't let time go by. That's why so many of our kids are broke. So many of our kids in their 20s are broke because nobody bought any stock for them when they were young. If somebody had just loved them enough to buy them $200 worth of stock since they were a newborn baby, they would have $250,000 in the bank by now. Like hundreds of thousands of dollars, no financial problems. They'd be living their best life. Instead, they are starving and struggling and broke and homeless. And you got your daughter out here sleeping with R. Kelly to get some extra money. You got your son out here taking penitentiary chances, like out here jacking people because he's trying to pay the bills. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. We shouldn't do that to our kids. And so, but because you're here and this is financial consciousness training, I want to make sure you're conscious of that. Right now you know, right? Now you know exactly what to do. You know exactly what the problem is. And so it's up to you to decide how much you're going to assert the energy required to address the issue, or if you're just going to sit there with the knowledge and do nothing with it. I hope you do something with it. I want to encourage you to do that. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna go. And so you'll get an email soon about Dr. Alicia's session on financial therapy and overcoming trauma to become an investor. If you're in the Stock Market Investors Club, you can come for free, it's totally free. If you're not, I'll send you another link where you can actually just sign up on her website and compensate her for her time. And of course, everyone in here gets a discount, and you get lifetime access to all the materials, all the trainings, all the everything that she's offering. So anyway, I hope you guys. In case you don't know, my wife is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work and a certified trauma expert. So really assessing this trauma issue and not letting trauma stop you from the money, stop you from making your move. I think that's really huge in terms of us solving this black wealth dilemma that we are faced with. All right. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.